So if you're anything like me and wear the hell out of your Rolexes, eventually you're going to pick up some kind of damage, whether it be a serious dent, scratches, maybe bracelet stretch over a longer period of time, internal damage or wear and tear, etc. Well, today I share with you my before and after experience with restoring and a partial service of a Rolex Submariner. This is a Bluesy two-tone that I bought over a year ago. Then I actually had laser welded steel added because it was a little bit over polished. So let's roll the intro and get into it. Now, before I get into this, I want to make something abundantly clear. I am no way affiliated with Rolliworks. I paid for their services with my own hard-earned money, and as always, this is a truly independent review of my personal experiences with them. Just like every watch dealer or AD, strap seller, even clothes, EDC items, from bags to knives. In fact, everything you see on my channel, I was a customer, or still am a customer, first. And if the service or products are worthy of recommendation, then I choose to endorse them. As you guys know, I fundamentally believe in putting my money where my mouth is. And I always try to give the most honest and respectful appraisal of whatever I am sharing with you guys. Now, with that being said, don't forget to like this video. It's the best way to support the channel, especially if you want to carry on seeing more free and independent content like this. I'll also do a quick wristwatch check. This is the 1972 Maverick from Dan Henry, inspired by the Porsche design in Top Gun. And I just realized I'm wearing the jacket in Creed 2 and a watch that's related to Top Gun, so it's kind of movie themed today. A little bit of a backstory to explain how this all came about. So I purchased a Submariner reference 16613, aka the Bluesy, in late 2021 as a treat to myself. If you recall, I made a video shot on the historic Iowa-class battleship, the USS New Jersey, comparing my own current Tudor Submariner to a Bluesy that I borrowed from my go-to trusted watch dealer, Moya Fine Jewelers. I was actually considering trading my Tudor in for it, along with a Datejust in exchange for the two-tone Bluesy. But after the video, it was obvious that the watches being so diametrically opposed, despite both having Submariner on the dial, that selling the Tudor would have been a big mistake, especially as the prices have almost doubled in the 3 years of ownership. So if I change my mind or get seller's remorse, buying one would be an extremely expensive undertaking. One is about fun, passion, pizzazz, exuberance, and functional luxury, while the other is more of an understated tool with a classic Bondian seriousness and maturity. It really depends what mood you're in and what I'm wearing. So I decided to keep the Tudor, sold the Datejust to Moya, and then bought a Bluesy, and therefore paying the difference. And if I ever miss the Datejust, I can always just borrow my wife's beautiful example to quell any yearnings. As discussed in a recent video, which was definitely one of my faves I've made this year, so do check it out if you missed it. Now, the watch I borrowed off Moya wasn't actually the one I ended up pulling the trigger on. I had to wait a little while longer, but I knew it wasn't going to be a modern contemporary Bluesy, you know, the maxi case, ceramic bezel. Some of you might recall I started my channel off with a ceramic sub. That was the 16610LN, I think, you know, with date. I did, however, want a more modern Bluesy with superluminova and the etched rehort. The former for obvious legibility reasons at night, and the latter, God knows why really, but just the pleasing aesthetic, I guess, of that etching around the dial. So I waited till one came along, and one did. A very late, kind of transitional model, being one of the very last 16613s before the introduction of the more modern ceramic and beefier maxi case two-tone subbies. The only issue is, it was a little over-polished. Now I'll do my best to try and show you exactly what I mean. So what are the options? Well, you could send it back to Rolex, but let's be honest, that's expensive. And also you can't exactly dictate the precise work you want. It's going to be a full service, as I only wanted the case seen to. I had already purchased an aftermarket Jubilee. You guys know my nostalgic adoration for the quintessentially 80s jingly jangliness of them. As I do not use the Oyster bracelet that came with my sub, so there was no need for a complete overhaul. In fact, I just sent in the head of the watch without the bracelet, along with a brief description of what I wanted to have done. Now, typically I have my watches serviced at Moya, like my current Explorer, and past Tudors in fact. But Rolliworks offered a very unique service, and that is the ability to laser weld steel back onto the watch and then recut the lugs with fresh chamfers, just like new. After some diligent research online to make sure that they were indeed legit and reputable, I sent them an email and decided to send in my Bluesy for this laser welding service. Now, if you do have some serious stretching to your bracelet, no matter if it is Oyster, Jubilee, two-tone, presidential, all steel, or whatever, have a look at their Instagram for good examples of their work. So I have to say, it was rather nerve-wracking at first. You're sending off a watch, an extremely expensive watch. Well, for me it is extremely expensive, especially when you work so hard, you know what these things are worth and you save up and all the rest. Anyway, that's a whole different story. I'll be a bit vulgar and I'll mention price, but we're talking about a $12,000, $13,000 watch, right? I mean, I don't really keep up with prices because I'm more about enjoyment. I'm not a watch dealer. I couldn't give a hoot about watch prices and Rolex, you know, all that endless boring stuff. But the point is, it's still an expensive watch. I sent it off. The whole process was very easy. They provided the FedEx shipping, blah, blah, blah. About a week later, I got emailed a very detailed analysis or inspection of the watch and what they recommended in terms of, it was a quote basically. But I like the fact that they consulted me because, you know, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I want to know exactly what's going to happen to my watch. Okay, so here we are. Just open this up. There we go. Delivery was very, very quick, very prompt. Oh, there we go. Oh. The moment of truth. Oh, I'm a bit nervous about this. There it is. Let's see. Oh my God. What is this? First of all, let me just look. Okay, this is the billing. This is all the work I had done. The results of accuracy. There we go. And then we have the pressure testing. But this is the moment of truth. Those are the old gaskets I see there. Very cool. So they actually sent everything back to me. And let's have a look at the case. Let's have a look. Wow, look at the chamfering there. Let's just look at the side. Look at the polishing. It looks. Wow, look at that. That is crisp. From what I understand, they actually laser weld steel that's been over polished back onto it, so it kind of, you know, resets it, if you will, to like a factory as if it was new, and then they recut the chamfering, as you can see there, as if it's new. So very chuffed with that. Look at that. It's just flat like it should be. That's great work. Let's just see it from this. Here's one lug. Yeah, they look all equal. I mean, they look really look at that. They look equal. I mean, they really do. That's amazing. Let's look at the lug guards. Wow. The crown. Wow, that's it. Oh, look at the back. It's like new. That's incredible. I got an aftermarket Jubilee. Got from the UK, so that's how I like to wear it. So, well, I've missed it. I have missed it. Quite expensive, but to me the price is worth it because I'm going to get more enjoyment out of it. You know, so for me, yeah. Big thumbs up. Let's take it back to the studio. So overall, I'm happy with the service, and yes, it is expensive, mainly due to the high cost of the machinery and the high level of training and expertise required to operate it. As I have said, outside of Rolex, there are very few places that offer this level of service worldwide. In fact, knowing this kind of service exists makes me less concerned with wearing my other Rolex watches. It's worthy to point out they do offer laser welding on gold too, so I expect to wear my day date a little bit more confidently and more often as a result. However, there is something very important to note here. As this is a third-party service, if you do undertake this kind of restoration, you must declare it when it comes to selling any watch you have had work carried out on. But for me, how it affects the value of the watch is not really a concern, as I buy watches to enjoy and to wear them. I am still, and always will be, a watch enthusiast. Unfortunately out there are still many shady dealers that simply restore overpolished Rolex watches, adding non-original materials via laser welding to the watch in question, even recut the chamfers and declare it as new or unpolished, for obvious reasons. Now, as I am not a watch dealer, this ethical dilemma is not really a concern for me, because if I do sell my Submariner, I will be very clear to give records of everything that I've had done to it. Now, done correctly, laser welding can make a bad dent or uneven polishing disappear. Done poorly, and you risk destroying the case completely. Therefore, while you can rebuild a case entirely with a truly experienced watchmaker, this technique should be only used extremely sparingly, or for repairs that traditional refinishing would not be able to correct. I feel Rolliworks understands this and have done just the right amount of very minimal laser welding in my case. So in conclusion, would I recommend Rolliworks? Yeah, absolutely. I was very pleased with the services they provided me. I think they were very professional, attentive, detailed, and it was reasonably quick. The cost of it, that's something you have to come to terms with, your own fears and desires and all the rest of it. I think that was a True Romance reference. Yes, it was. Yeah, deep cut. Anyway, why am I always talking about movies? But in terms of Rolliworks, definitely a big thumbs up from me. Speaking of which, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to share your thoughts, opinions, recommendations of places where you have had your watches serviced, all the rest of it, all that good stuff in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Onwards and upwards. Ciao.